So we've heard from lawmakers, and now it's time to hear from the actual small businesses in Maryland that are going to be impacted by this dangerous new tax. I'd like to welcome Jay Ellenby up to the podium. Again, he is the president and CEO of Safe Harbors Travel Group out of Bel Air, Maryland.
Good morning. My name is Jay Ellenby, president and CEO of Safe Harbors Travel Group in Baltimore. Well, excuse me, we were in Baltimore for a number of years. We're now in Bel Air, Maryland. First of all, happy April Fool's Day. It's actually one of my favorite days, but unfortunately this is not a joke as we're about this topic. This is an additional tax, any way you look at it. Small businesses, medium business, large businesses, any way you want to slice it, it will be an additional tax. But obviously small business when it comes to travel agencies in Maryland, of 1,100 that you heard. What takes place in my industry is when the hotels, mechanics of it works, when we book a hotel, we often receive a commission. And in this legislation, that commission is not taxed. However, there are many, many cases where the hotels will create a separate negotiated deal, either with a corporation or with an individual group, where it is not commissionable. In that case, we are forced to charge fees. So when we, in this part of this legislation, when we do charge a fee, that is taxed. Therefore, that is then also passed on down to the corporation or the individual. So a tax is a tax. I stand firmly opposed to this SB190. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. Next, I'd like to welcome to the podium Karen Dunlap. She is the CEO of Travel On Limited out of Beltsville, Maryland.
Good morning. I'm Karen Dunlap. I'm president and CEO of Travel On Limited in Beltsville, Maryland. Travel On was founded in 1974, and for over 40 years, Travel On has been headquartered in the state of Maryland. Today, we have 3 brick and mortar locations in Prince George's and Montgomery counties, and our payroll supports 7% of the 1,100 travel agents who currently are employed in Maryland. Travel On's a global travel management company specializing in business and leisure travel, and our diverse client portfolio includes large universities, contractors, for-profits, and not-for-profits. We don't sell travel to our customers, we facilitate travel for our customers. What we sell is professional, independent, unbiased, and consultative services so that a client can get their best return on investment for their dollar and have peace of mind knowing that there's someone that has their back before, during, and after their travel. Until 20 years ago, most agencies relied on commissions as their primary source of income. This changed when the airlines started commission cuts in 1995. Many agencies didn't survive those cuts, and what was once a pool of 30,000 plus travel agencies in the United States dwindled to just over 10,000 today. The agencies that were successful and remain successful today, like Travel On and like Safe Harbors, did so because they were able to implement service fees for their consultative services. And the travel agency community and the American Society of Travel Agents have spent the last 20 years trying to justify those fees to their customers, and we've done a good job of it. It hasn't been easy, but we've been successful. The introduction of SB190, which is a new tax imposed on tax-paying small businesses in the state of Maryland, I consider to be a triple threat. It's bad for the agency community because it imposes additional administrative burdens on already overburdened small businesses and an additional tax, new tax, on small businesses, and it makes us less competitive. It's bad for the consumer. If they're forced back into a position where they have to do it themselves to avoid paying these additional taxes on our service fees, they no longer have the support and partnership that they currently have with their agency partners. And it's bad for hotels, or potentially bad for the hotels in Maryland. Travel On booked over 4,000 hotel room nights for a total of over $500,000 in hotel bookings in 2014. And what's going to happen to that revenue if we're in a position where we are in a position to make other choices? So I strongly oppose this tax and hope that you'll do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I'd now like to welcome to the podium Eben Peck. the Senior Vice President of Government and Industry Affairs at the American Society of Travel Agents.
Good morning. Thanks to Travel Tech for pulling this together. I want to thank the delegates for coming. We appreciate their support. I'm Eben Peck with the American Society of Travel Agents. We represent travel agents of all shapes and sizes, including 70 member companies in Maryland. We've heard a lot about how this bill will only impact the big OTCs and will have no impact on traditional brick and mortar agencies. And we've also heard that recent changes to the bill mean that traditional agencies are carved out of the tax. We appreciate the efforts, we appreciate the sentiment, but such a true carve-out does not exist, and here's why. As you heard, as our industry has evolved, travel agents are relying less on commissions and more on professional service fees charged to their clients. This is a critical change that's brought our industry back to health. If you rely only on supplier commissions, you are at the mercy of the supplier completely. And as you heard, the airlines cut commissions abruptly in the 90s, and it was quite traumatic for our industry. According to our surveys, about half of our members charge a fee for hotel bookings. That income under this bill will now be subject to Maryland state sales tax in addition to federal income and state income tax. This is a new tax on our industry. The bottom line is this. Contrary to the myth of the travel agent as a dead or dying breed, those agencies who have adapted to the internet era have not only survived but have thrived. And there's been a shift in business model from one based on commission to one based on fees. Traditional travel agents, especially the successful ones, do the things the big OTCs do and will be impacted by this new tax. We urge the House of Delegates to vote it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. I'd now like to welcome Kevin Mitchell, the chairman of the Business Travel Coalition.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you and good morning. Dozens of travel industry organizations this week wrote to Governor Hogan urging him to reject this new tax on travel. These organizations included Safe Harbor Travel Group, American Express Global Business Travel, the Independent Lodging Industry Association, the Teamsters National Airline Division, the American Society of Travel Agents, and World Travel, Inc. These organizations purchase and facilitate annually billions of dollars in travel spend. This new tax will be passed on to corporate and university and government travel departments, along with travel agencies' new and significant costs associated with legal obligations, accounting complexities, extensive record keeping, administrative functions for collecting and remitting the tax, and audit and compliance requirements. Travel and meeting managers, including state government travel offices and state universities, are under great pressure to watch every penny of spend. All of these administrative costs would be on top of the new tax and would be translated into higher fees from the travel agent to the travel department for services rendered. As such, a double incentive would be created to choose a less expensive destination than Maryland if possible. If not possible, there will be fewer dollars available in Baltimore or Annapolis for restaurants and entertainment, negatively impacting jobs and economic activity. Not only would this bill result in downward pressure on demand for lodging properties of all sizes, but as the Teamsters pointed out in our press release yesterday, it would do harm to Maryland's travel agencies, most of which are small businesses endeavoring to scratch out a living for themselves and their employees. Smaller agencies simply do not have the infrastructure to handle these kinds of requirements. Larger agencies do. As such, this bill will tilt the competitive playing field in favor of the larger mega agencies. Our press release and the total list of the signatories to the governor's letter is available on btc.travel. Thank you very much.